Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. My name is tonibryanne, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the John Jones story and what happened in the Nutty Putty cave. So without further ado, let's just get straight into this video. So a caver named Dale Green discovered the Nutty Putty cave in 1960. He named this cave after a piece of clay that he found inside of the cave, which is about 1,400 feet deep, filled with numerous chutes and tunnels. So this cave is very well known, and thousands of people used to explore this cave when it was most popular years ago. On November 24th, 2009, John and 10 friends and family members decided to go explore this cave, and what they thought was a very fun excursion was organized by his brother Josh. So we're going to do a little bit of a backstory about John and where he was during this period in his life. So at the time, John was attending medical school in Virginia with his wife Emily and their 1-year-old daughter Lizzie, and his wife was expecting their second child in June. So most likely, due to the stress in medical school and just wanting to spend time with family and some friends, John decided to take this excursion because he was really into this whole mining and cave life stuff. He was a very adventurous man. So John, his brother Josh, and their family and friends all decided to explore the Nutty Putty. And at the time, John had not been caving for years. They also were on this trip because this was something that they did when they were kids, so it was like a throwback of their childhood family outings of going into caves, I suppose. The group entered the cave around 8 p.m. and explored a large chamber called the Big Slide before John and Josh broke off with 2 friends to find a challenge. That challenge being a tight but navigable part of the cave called the birth canal. The group split up, wiggling into little alcoves to find this birth canal. John in particular picked a waist-high hole to explore. John went into this hole head first, pushing himself in with his hands, his hips, and his body, whatever he could possibly move to push himself inward into this little space that he called an alcove. So other cavers that have explored this particular hole that John was in said that only like the most slender contortionists could fit into this hole, so they knew not to go inside of it. However, John was not aware of this. So he just kept on going, likely thinking that this was the canal, which was the place that he was headed, where he wanted to go to challenge himself a bit more within the cave. So it's thought that when John saw a fissure, he likely thought that there was like a widening gap towards the bottom, and that's why he kept on going. But like I said, we don't know exactly what was going through John's head. So rescuers believed that John sucked in his chest to investigate the fissure, sliding his torso over a lip of rock and down into the 10-inch wide side of the crevice. But when his chest expanded again, that's when he became stuck. And John found no place big enough to be able to turn his body around to exit the tunnel. Now, struggling to free himself, it only made John slide deeper and deeper into the narrow 8.5-inch side of the fissure. One arm was pinned underneath him, and his other hand being forced backward by an outcropping of rock. Instead of the crack widening for John to get out, it instead narrowed and eventually closed. So you're probably wondering now, where was John's family and friends during this time? So when John's 23-year-old brother Josh saw that John was stuck in the cave, he thought this was just going to be another family story to tell in the future. It was like another adventure. It's going to be fun, something to laugh about. Although it was serious at the moment, they were going to laugh about it later. So when they were kids, their father Leon Jones got stuck in between 2 rocks, and although it was really scary at the time, their father was able to wiggle his way out, and now it was like a story that they always talked about. So Josh was hoping and thought that this was going to be yet another story about one of their family members getting stuck in between rocks, and then something they could laugh about later on in the future. However, as we know now, this was not the case at all. As Josh crab crawled through this tunnel where his brother was stuck, he himself got stuck for a moment, and that was right around the corkscrew where his brother John was stuck. That's when immediately he got terrified. In a quote, Josh said, "Seeing his feet and seeing how swallowed he was by the rock, that's when I knew it was serious. It was really serious." The 2 brothers that were devout Mormons decided to pray during this time because they didn't know if John would be able to get out of this situation. As Josh prayed, he was able to work his way free. He wrapped his feet around John's calves and pulled. John's body inched up, but he had nothing to hold on to and slipped back into the crevice as soon as Josh released him. Josh said although he was very passionate about caving, and he always felt like an explorer and felt like this guy that had all this power, seeing that he couldn't get his brother out made him feel powerless and overwhelmed, should I say. Josh knew they needed a rescue team, and very, very, very soon. So he crawled his way out, called 911, while another friend crawled inside to keep company with John. So once he knew that help was on the way, Josh decided to switch with that friend and spent time in the cave with his brother and kind of comforted him, spoke about the future to make sure that he knows that he's gonna get out, that you're gonna be okay, and just help him to calm his nerves. And I thought that was a really sweet thing, because I know that I'd probably do the same for my sister and vice versa. So let's talk about how John passed away. So the human body is designed to sit upright. However, the way that John was inside the cave, he was upside down. So when rescuers told the trauma physician Doug Murdoch that John was basically upside down, Doug Murdoch said that John did not have much time left. In quote, he stated, "Being upside down, your body has to pump the blood out of the brain all the time. Your body isn't set up to do that. The entire system starts to fail." So basically, blood and fluids would be pooling in John's brain and lungs, his circulation would be slowing down, his capillaries leaking, toxins building up in his blood, and he would eventually pass out and then soon pass away. The physician gave John just about 8 to 10 hours to live. There were so many different things that the team did before the rescuers came to try and get John out the cave that just weren't working. For instance, one woman that was with him named Susie tried to get a rope and pull him out of the cave, and she said that she had been stuck in a cave before too, which is very scary and lonely, so she wanted to get him out as soon as possible. But when they used the rope, the friction of the rock and the rope was not letting John get pulled out. Another thing that they did was Susie decided to use a water bottle. Susie did this intentionally to maybe hope that the water could get to his mouth so that he could drink some water while he was in there, but that didn't work either. She helped him shift positions while he was in the cave, but she wasn't able to lift him out, so that didn't work. She even cut off his jeans to free up a few inches for him to get out, but that didn't work either. And once again, Susie did the same thing as John's brother Josh did, which was really comfort him and kind of talk about the future so that he could know that he will eventually get out of this cave. And one of the things she said to him was, "Oh, is this going to be a story to tell your wife when you get out?" And she asked him if he wanted pancakes after this was all done. And that's a really good tactic to help calm the brain, although I'm sure it didn't really help him because he was probably terrified and very claustrophobic like that. I know I have claustrophobia and I can't do that. I hate little tight spaces. So at least they tried with that. So over the hours, so many people have tried to get John out. Rescuers, they came out with drills, they used rope, they used everything you could possibly imagine to try and get this man out of this cave, but nothing worked. So I'm sure you're probably wondering, where was John's wife and what was she thinking during this time? So John's wife was called. His wife's name is Emily. So after being aware of the situation, John's wife Emily basically stayed by the phone that entire night waiting for a phone call, wanting to hear the good news that her man John was free. When the morning of November 25th, 2009 came, Emily knew that she couldn't wait anymore, so she decided to drive down to the cave with John's parents to see what was the holdup and what was going on. And when she got there, she was appalled by the hundreds of people trying to get John out of this cave, consisting of rescuers, fire trucks, ambulances, the sheriff's office, and of course family and friends. Everybody. Emily said that she knew she couldn't do anything to help, but she just wanted to give him a big hug when she knew that he was safely out. She just imagined him being really, really scared and really tired. Utah's County Sheriff Lieutenant Tom Hodgins told Emily that we're going to get him out for you very soon. He started tearing up and Emily was very confused why he was crying because she didn't know the severity of the situation. Little did Emily know, the lieutenant said that he has seen the situation happen before. 6 years ago, Hodgson was there when a 16-year-old boy got stuck in the cave, in the same exact tunnel that trapped John. It took the crews 14 hours just to free him, and that teen spent 3 days in the hospital after all this happened. 2 weeks later, a second person got stuck in that same exact tunnel that John was in the teenage boy, and after that, state officials officially closed the cave. When John got stuck, the cave had only been open for 6 to 7 months. So the teen that got stuck, that was in 2004, however, he was 5'7", and a pulley system freed that boy. However, John was significantly bigger than that boy and a lot farther down the tunnel. The team pulled him and kept trying and causing him lots and lots of pain. With his heart struggling to pump blood to his legs, it made it really, really painful for him to get out, and authorities and officials realized that the only way to get him out was to break his legs due to the angle of the tunnel. With his weakened state, they knew that the shock would eventually kill him, so they decided not to do so. So after almost 28 hours, John Jones died in the cave, and they officially closed the cave down forever. So to this day, almost 12 years later, John's body is still in that cave, and it is now known as a memorial for John Jones and the horrors of the Nutty Putty Cave. John Jones, who was just 26 at the time, left behind a pregnant wife, a daughter, and lots of family members and friends that loved and cared for him. And although it was a very tragic death, his death became a warning for people that wanted to be more adventurous and travel through caves that just were known to be a little bit more dangerous. So that is the story of John Jones and the Nutty Putty Cave and why that cave is now closed off. It's such a scary and sad story. I don't understand how people do like caving. Like, that terrifies me. I could never do that. I've seen way too many movies. The movie As Above, So Below, like about how in caves, like that's like the gateway to hell. I've seen lots of really scary things, people getting stuck, people finding things they shouldn't have found down there. I just don't play with caves, and it's very scary, and I'm very sorry for his family. I hope that they're all doing well now during this time, and that, you know, this is just always going to be a sad story for them, but a story that they're able to tell and just kind of make him seem like he was like Indiana Jones and some adventurous man. But yeah, this story, when I heard it, I knew I had to share it because it was such an intense, frightening story I couldn't even imagine. And I just hope that John is resting in peace and that his family is at peace as well, knowing that he is at peace. So that is the end of this video. Please let me know in the comments down below what you guys know about this story, what you guys feel about this story. Please also be respectful, because I don't know if any family members are watching this video, so, and y'all don't know either that they're going to be seeing your comments. Just be respectful in the comments, and yeah, I will see you all in my next video. Love you guys. Bye. Mwah.